All right, we're about to get started with the North Carolina press conference. A couple of reminders as a courtesy to your fellow meeting members and team participants. Please make sure to silence your cell phones. Please make sure to state your name and media affiliation before asking a question. And for those of us joining on Zoom, please make sure to use the raise hand function. One final reminder, all recordings of this press conference on cell phones and cameras are prohibited. We're now joined by North Carolina head coach Hubert Davis and student athletes Cormac Ryan, RJ Davis, and Armando Baycott. We'll begin with an opening statement from Coach Davis and then get into questions for the student athletes. We'll jump right into questions for the student athletes. Again, raise your hand if you have any questions. Do we have any questions for the student athletes? Go here in the third row.
Could you kind of tell me, like probably the first part of the first half, you guys, what could you guys could have done to keep that momentum going offensively?
Start with Cormac.
I mean, I don't fully understand the question, but I think in general, I think we needed to rebound the ball a little better and continue to get stops. I think that hurt us, allowed them to get back in the game.
We'll go to front row right here.
Armando, what did you make of the way you guys started the second half? It was a tough shooting stretch there for you after halftime, and that seemed to be a factor.
Yeah, I thought in the second half we came out a little flat, but I mean, like Cormac said, they got a lot of rebounds. We knew coming into the game they shot a lot of threes, and it would lead to a lot of long rebounds. So I think just me personally, I didn't do a good enough job just boxing out and coming out with more intensity, especially coming into the beginning of that second half, because we knew they would come in and try to come back and come fired up. But, I mean, I think at the end of the day, it just boiled down to them just making more shots than we did.
Do we have any other questions for the student athletes? Go ahead in the back.
Armando, the feeling, is it a feeling of shock, sadness, surprise? Did you realize Alabama was this good? Did you expect your team was capable of going all the way? So how do you justify what happened tonight?
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely hurt, and I mean, I think we all are a little shocked. I mean, we don't underestimate any opponent, and I think today, I mean, it was tough, but all year we play hard, and today we play hard, and they just made more shots than us, and I mean, it's tough. Losing is not the result we want, especially with just how talented we are as a team, and we felt like we had a chance to win the national championship this year, but, I mean, I wouldn't change anything that happened all year. It was a special year just with teammates, coaches. I mean, it was just, for me personally, a restored sense of funness. Just my love for the game just grows so much. My faith this year has grown a lot, and I'm going to miss everything about just being with this team, the coaches. I've been knowing Coach Davis since I was 14 years old, 15 years old, and knowing this is the last time I'll play for him, it definitely hurts.
Right here in the front.
Alejandro Avila, Outkick.com. It seems like a lot of guys in the locker room are emotional because they really believed in this team. They thought it was a really special group. Now that the year's done, how would you define this team?
Best team I've ever played on, just the amount of fun we had and the love we had for each other. I mean, it was just amazing. I mean, it's obviously tough that we lost, but just we played so hard and we cared about each other so much and we loved each other so much.
Go ahead here in the fourth row.
Yeah, Armando, the knock on Alabama was they can't play defense or they won't play defense. What are your thoughts about that?
I mean, like I said, I think it just boiled down to them just hitting more shots than us today. You look at it, I missed a few chippies. I missed a wide-open dunk. abnormal stuff. I mean, we missed some shots we usually make, and later down the stretch, they made some shots. So that's really all I can point to.
Go ahead.
Rod Baxley, Fayetteville Observer. RJ, you've had such a great year, man. What was kind of your mindset out there to have a game like you had, and what goes through your mind when you look down at the stat sheet and the shooting struggles tonight?
I mean, I just wasn't good enough today. Missed a lot of easy shots that I normally make, and
I mean, I gotta chime in here. Just you guys can write whatever you want, about tonight's game. You could talk about RJ, you could talk about the stats, you could talk about whatever, but we would not be in this position today without RJ Davis and Armando Bacot. Carolina wouldn't be in this position today without these two guys. And so, say what you want. There's just not a true fiber in your being that could actually believe that anything that happened tonight could be the result of something RJ did wrong, because RJ's done something incredible for this team. He's done stuff that's never been done before. He's one of the greatest Tar Heels of all time, and for anybody to come and say anything negative about RJ is unacceptable, and I'm going to just say that.
Continue in the front here.
RJ, I had a question about the final 30 seconds there after they had gone up to, I think it was 85, 87. Can you just take us through that possession that Nelson had the block shot on you, and then you got another one off in the lane that didn't draw iron? Just can you sort of take us through that possession and what was happening?
Yeah, I mean, we just try to get the best shot possible, try to get an easy two going. Thought I had an advantage on Nelson, was able to go blow by, but then he was able to swat it. And then caught the ball screen coverage. It kind of doubled, but I was able to blow by, kind of get him, and then kind of just heave one up, but kind of hit the other side of the rim, and by the time shot clock went out. So, I mean, that's what went on with that play.
Final question for the student athletes. Anyone? Right here in the front.
Mike Rodak with 247 for RJ. Just Alabama players credited Rylan Griffin, number 3, for what he was able to do defensively against you. Just what made him so effective tonight.
I mean, he's a good player. He's a good defensive player with his length and height, but at the same time, I mean, I had a lot of open looks that I normally knock down. I'm able to make. Just the ball didn't go my way in today's game. Usually it does. I was confident, and one thing my teammates did throughout the whole game was just pick me up and told me to continue to keep shooting. But, sometimes the ball just doesn't bounce your way, but, yeah.
Thank you, Cormac, RJ, and Armando. We'll now open it up for questions for Coach Davis. Go ahead. We'll start here in the front. Nobody.
Rod Baxley, Fayetteville Observer. Hubert, how would you just describe that second half for your guys? What did you see the differences down the stretch?
The entire second half, or the
just in the closing 4 minutes, or what in your mind was the difference tonight?
Well, I mean, always in the closing minutes, it's it comes down to a play here and there. I've talked all season about the little details that make big things happen, not just necessarily shots, rebounds, free throws, loose balls. At the end of the day, they made down the stretch more plays than us, and unfortunately, we came out on the short end.
We'll go next to the third row over here.
Hi, Haley Sawyer, SoCal News Group. So you've played against Alabama in the tournament as a player, and now you're playing them, or you've played them as a coach. So just what was it like, having that perspective change from the player to being a coach now?
Really didn't, think about it from a player's perspective. That was really a long time ago, but, it was an honor and a privilege to play against Alabama tonight. They're one of the better teams in the country. Obviously very gifted, from an offensive standpoint, not just shooting the basketball. They have guys that can create their own shot and just go get buckets. But also felt like their length and their athleticism bothered us defensively, and I think that was a huge reason for our field goal percentage in the second half being down. Their length and the way that they challenged our shots bothered us, and then their ability to get second chance opportunities. I know we won the rebounding battle, but in order for us to have won this game, we needed to dominate the boards on both ends of the floor. We did get 22 offensive rebounds, but just not enough defensive rebounds to come away with the win.
Keep it in the front.
Hubert, that's what I was going to ask you about, what you felt like changed maybe from the first half to the second half. Was that a surprise in any way? Because your percentages were great in the first half. You hit the 10 threes.
Yeah.
You were rolling pretty good offensively, and then it dried up.
No, it did, and I think it's a number of things. Number one, we just missed shots. I thought we had good looks that not normally that we make that we can make, and we just missed. I thought, secondly, their length and bothered us. They have length and athleticism at every position, and so when they switching, different types of actions, that made it difficult for us to score, and we just and for us, not doing the job on the boards didn't allow us to get out in transition, so we're always going up against a set defense, and so I thought that played a part into it as well. And sometimes, your shots just don't go in. It stinks when it doesn't, and I don't know if that might have been the lowest percentage we shot in a half all year. It's close, and just came at a really wrong time.
Any other questions here in the room?
Coach, we heard what Cormac had to say about RJ, just reflect on his importance to the program. I'm wondering if you had any thoughts to sum up. I know it's tough after a loss, but RJ's impact and Armando's impact here.
It was everybody's impact. I mean, in a time in college basketball where there's so many moving parts and so many changes, you had two players that you couldn't ask for them to be as successful as they have been for 4 and 5 years, respectfully, at the same institution. Their commitment to Carolina, their commitment to this program and the community, those are the things that my hope is talked about more, about guys staying committed to the process. And not just RJ and Armando, but also Cormac. You got, Cormac and Harrison and Jay Witt and Pax and James, and you've got guys that come in here as transfers and they dove right into what this place is all about, so much so that you don't even think that they've been here for 1 year. You feel like they've been here for 4 years. So the commitment of this team from the start to have wanted to be a team is the thing that has blown me away and has restored my faith that you can't have a bunch of guys in a locker room that genuinely enjoy being around each other and celebrate the success of others and really want to be a team.
We have time for 2 final questions. We'll go right here in the front.
Hubert, wanted to ask you just about rolling with Pax a little bit more than maybe usual in the second half tonight, because I think he had more minutes than Seth and Elliott. Just like what you saw there, why that was the decision to do that? And
yeah, I mean, the way that they were playing us defensively, they were laying off some of our guys. And, Pax is somebody that has always been ready when his number is called, and somebody that throughout his career has had an ability to be able to shoot the ball from the outside. And so with them loading up on Armando in the post and loading up on RJ on any type of drives, and then them, I think even staying even more connected to Cormac after the first half that he had, putting in somebody that throughout his career is more proven from the outside would give Armando some more space, RJ more space to drive and be able to move. And I thought Pax did a good job when he was in there.
All right, we have time for one more question here in the room. Anybody?
Coach, Armando said that he saw his faith grow this season. Is this because of the process, and how did you see this group of young men mature this year?
I did. I thought these guys. That's what I want. I mean, I would love to keep playing and win. Just continue to play, but more importantly, my job and my responsibility is to help and to serve and to prepare these guys for outside of basketball. So when they leave here, they're in a position to be successful, whatever they do, wherever they do it. And the growth and the faith of Armando and all of the guys has grown this year in a way that it has refined their faith, it has developed their character so that they can move forward and be successful wherever they go.
Thank you, Coach.
Okay.